Hello, Stoney fam. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. And happy Terpy Tuesday. So, today I kind of just want to talk about and kind of break down some information about all of the cannabinoids and kind of information about that and the endocannabinoid system and all that kind of fun stuff that is kind of confusing when it's, all explained really quick at first. But we're going to try to break it down piece by piece and so we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. But before we get to the scientific facts and all that, I kind of want to share some fun facts about cannabis with you guys, because some of the stuff I didn't actually know myself until quite recently, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So anyway, did you guys know that cannabis is indigenously grown all over the world? So it's not something that we just planted everywhere with, ourselves. Like, it's been here. It's been a part of us, part of our ecosystem since we've been around. So it's quite interesting that that's one of the plants that have been around everywhere. That, and another fun fact about that is the closer that you are to the equator, the more high in potency and THC the flower strains will be being produced. Just that's how they're going to grow. Due to that being close to the equator. The further away, not so much. It's going to be on a lesser scale of the THC and potency. It's going to be a lot lower. So that's also an interesting fact I thought I would share. For example, 𝕥𝕤𝕡𝕪, that's originated from Hawaii, and another one, like Afghan Kush, is from Afghanistan. So two completely opposite areas, and one's going to be a lot more potent than the other. So like the 𝕥𝕤𝕡𝕪 obviously is going to be a lot more strong, a lot more potent in that aspect. Another fact, it's not very fun one anyway. This one's kind of crappy, but it is interesting to read about because it's in this regard, by the way, when I say interesting, I mean it's baffling. Not like interesting, like, oh, this is cool. I mean, like, this is crap. Like, we need to change this. But I had no idea that this many people are still incarcerated for cannabis-related crimes. But there's approximately 40,000 people right now that are in prison for cannabis. It's horrible, especially with all of the dispensaries opening up and regulations that are changing constantly. I don't see why some of these people, that are being incarcerated are still in there for simply doing something that is now considered either decriminalized or legalized. So, all that needs to change. So, there is, though, an organization that is working very hard to make that change. That would be called the Last Prisoner Project. I will be posting a link below this if you're interested in reading any information about what they stand for. And they also have a bunch of platforms and socials that they promote and talk about this stuff on. And they're trying to get out there and basically make a change and help those that are being incarcerated for cannabis-related crimes that are undeserving and don't deserve to be dealing with that. So, if you want to give them a nice shout-out or just want to check them out, that's going to be linked below as well. So, please look below. Also, speaking of links below, there will also be all this information that I'm talking about right now will also be listed in the links. So, don't worry if you didn't have a chance to understand what I'm saying out right now, because I'm kind of stoned, and sometimes for me, like personally, I'm a visual learner, so I have to be seeing something as well as hearing. It's not like one or the other for me, so I can totally understand. But we're just going to get back to it. We're going to talk about some cannabis facts, and now we're just going to be talking about like the science of it. So basically, when you see the symbol, the triangle and then the number 9 at kind of close to the top of it, and the dash and the THC, that is the chemical that will be what makes you get high. That is the psychoactive property. That is, the THC, the cannabis property in that is going to make you feel stoned. So there's a couple of different forms of THC, like there's THC, THCA, and THCV. We're going to go back and break that down in a second, but we're just going to keep moving forward. Another one that many people know of, it's very popular. This is the opposite of what THC is going to do to you with that chemical compound that I just explained is going to do. So CBD, it stands for cannabidol. It has over 100 phytocannabinoids, and with 22 of which are delta 9. So this cannabinoid, CBD, it's going to be very medicinal properties in this one. It is not going to be psychoactive. You're really going to be just feeling a body relaxation, and this will help with a lot of ailments and symptoms that medical patients deal with, and recreational users that also use this as medicinally. They just don't have the card. This would be something that I would definitely recommend, a product that has either CBD in it or mostly based CBD products. So going back, talking about those phytocannabinoids, so I said 22 of which are delta 9. Well, 23 are cannabidol, the CBD, and so that means 55 more cannabinoids for each of them have their own effect also, but there's more outweighing the other. So that shows scientifically also that this particular cannabinoid is going to be very medicinal and is not going to be giving you that psychoactive effect that you'd be getting from just THC, or like delta 9. CBD also binds with the CB2 receptors, is very anti-inflammatory, and like I said, it's very medicinal. And that can very much help with relaxation. CBN's is a tiny bit different. It is very similar, but this one can also make you feel very sedative, so it can help you with sleeping. The next one that I want to talk about, CBM, if you've seen that, it's kind of a little bit different. This is a little bit more, it's mildly psychoactive, so there will be some psychoactive properties in this one, unlike the other two that don't have that effect. If you're not aware of what phytocannabinoids are, since I was just talking about those, they are produced by the plant. And so when you combine those two cannabinoids, so when you combine THC with CBD, whereas the THC is going to be more psychoactive and the CBD is more medicinal, like I said. So when you combine them both together, it embodies like a full spectrum dynamic, and that will give you a nice balanced body and head high, I feel like. Personally for me and for many other people and users that have taken products that have that combination. It does help with their ailments and also makes them feel good when they're trying to relax or have a good time. They found that it does that as well. So shout out to CBD, because for years I used to think it was just like a placebo, and I didn't fully grasp the understanding of the balance of using them both together. I just thought of, well, you have to just use this by itself. And any product that I'd used with CBD in it, I'd found was not what worked for me. I found for me, CBD flower works really well. One-in-one like gummies or edibles, or even like a higher ratio, like the 5-to-1s, 10-to-1s. That's worked for me. Tinctures have worked for me. Although when I say tinctures, I'm not taking like just straight CBD. Those will also be like a ratio. But I have found like full spectrum definitely does help with a lot of ailments that I personally deal with. So it's cool and interesting to listen and read all this stuff broken down, the science of it, because it does make you feel good, but I'd like to know why it makes me feel good at the same time too. So it's pretty cool. So as we were talking about, how CBD and THC, how they both affect your brain, well, I want to kind of now gear towards still talking about brains, but to brain and the body, but we're going to talk about those receptors and what goes on with that. So starting off with CB1. So your CB1 is going to be primarily located in your brain. And so when you're consuming cannabis that has that THC in there, that's going to be hitting right off first. It's going to hit your CB1 receptor, and then it will travel to your CB2. It's definitely going to give you that psychoactive effect. CB2 is primarily something that it's going to influence over your immune system. So CB1, nervous system, CB2, immune system. So like I was saying before, CBD is what binds with the CB2 receptors. It does not interact at all with the CB1 receptors. So that's why you don't get any psychoactive effect from it, because it's not interacting with that part of your brain. So that is why you cannot get that effect from CBD. So since it's Terpy Tuesday, we're still going to be talking about terpenes. I mean, I know I kind of overloaded a lot of information the last the last several episodes about strictly specific terpenes, each one, but I kind of want to give you a little bit more of information that I kind of refrained from before, or not on purpose, but I just want to share some. So we're going to talk about it. So terpenes are naturally occurring compounds found in the trichomes of a female cannabis plant. So, also side note, guys, if you didn't know, like, female cannabis plants, we are like the powerhouse. We're the powerhouse, us females, of cannabis. So, yeah, power to us women. To us females. Anyway, so the terpenes are naturally occurring compounds found in the trichomes of a female cannabis plant. Trichomes, so if you don't know what those are, the meaning behind that is they're sticky translucent glands that just cover the surface of buds and much smaller amounts. Like example, like on leaves, like you can see those little tiny, you know, you have like a magnifying glass and you can, you know, that's if you really want to see it good. But sometimes if it's, you know, very potent and sticky, you'll definitely be able to see them popping out. But you can see the little white, tiny, sticky glands. They usually look little white, kind of remind me almost of like little dewdrops, a little bit. That's the only thing I can kind of make an analogy for, I guess. If you haven't looked up what they look like, they're beautiful. Fresh cannabis with potent sticky trichomes everywhere. It's just beautiful to look at. I love crystals, trichomes. It's gorgeous. But yeah, trichomes, trichomes that contain resin glands that produce terpenes. So they are both very important together. So if you have a plant that doesn't produce enough trichomes, there's not going to be enough terpenes in that. It's not going to have enough, not a great flavor and aroma makeup, not a strong enough one anyway. So that's interesting as well. But besides the terpenes, you know, besides the distinctive aromas they produce, they also have and leave different color and pigments in the leaves and like the buds and stuff. So that's also the genetic makeup of what it's going to look like as well. Not just the flavors, not just what it's going to feel and taste like. It's also going to be what it looks like. So the best comparison I can make is we are all different. We're all different humans, and we're all made to be different. And so is cannabis. Everybody's different. We might all feel a feeling that is very similar to another, but it'll never be exactly the same. So that's how I try to compare it when you compare cannabis. Last thing I want to talk about before I wrap this up is a tiny bit of information about that endocannabinoid system. So I do want to say that we all have this. Like us humans, we have an endocannabinoid system. As well as mammals have this, fish have these, birds and other reptiles, they all have an endocannabinoid system. We were born and made this way. So, not only was cannabis indigenously placed here and put here while we've existed, it's been here, but it's also, we've been born with this endocannabinoid system so yes, it's interesting to know that we're all made this way and that we all have this. So, thank you guys again for listening, tuning in, and coming back to my podcast. Today I really did enjoy talking about all this stuff. I mean, I always love talking with you guys on the podcast, but I think today especially I'm just in a very positive mood. I have some good things I'm excited to be sharing with you guys soon, coming up on the next one. But yeah, moving on. I think today I'm done with talking about these facts. There'll be more coming out soon. And yeah, thanks again so much for listening. Hope you all have a wonderful Terpy Tuesday. Get nice and baked if that's what you choose to do. Relax, whatever you need to do to decompress for the day, do it. And just remember that you're awesome. And don't let anything get you down. If there's something today or in the past, present, whatever's getting you down, making you feel just not with it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of feeling down for a little bit. Past weekend, I mean. And it feels good to get myself back up again and to know that cannabis has helped me feel this way. So I hope that I, in turn, have helped you guys with any of my knowledge that I could share or any of my positivity that I could bring. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day, guys.